The Chicago Bears have taken 7 of the last 8 in their series with the Detroit Lions. This is Monday Night Football. The Chicago Bears lay at about 6.5 points. And Brian, this is your free pick. The problem with jumping on Lovie Smith and the fact that he has found a way to dominate the Lions over the last few years is that you've got Jay Cutler, who can look like an all-pro one half, and he can look like an absolute bum the next. But here's Chicago. They're at the top of the division, and they're only giving up about 14 points per game.
Yeah, Detroit's not the type of defense this year. I think last week was the first time they've intercepted a pass all season long. So that's normally a concern anytime you're looking to play Chicago in a game is can he be picked off because he's known not to make the best decisions in the world. But yeah, I know Marco's probably going to want to talk about this, so I'll leave it for him about coming off the bye with Chicago and all. But the Bears, when you take a look at their defense, they picked off 13 passes. So one team has picked off 13 passes, playing a Detroit quarterback who is mistake prone. Mm-hmm. Detroit's picked off 1 pass, playing a quarterback who's mistake prone. I don't like to lay a lot of points on Monday Night Football in a divisional game, but I don't want any part of Detroit here. One
of the reasons that Chicago's been able to win those games, 7 of the last 8 in this series, is because of their running game. They've had little trouble with Detroit when they run the football, and it was Matt Forte who was doing most of that over the last few times that these two teams have hooked up. Now, this Detroit addition ranks 10th in the league, holding teams down as far as rushing yards are concerned. But if they don't calm down on the penalty issue and the undisciplined, 16 penalties last week, but yet still won the game, they're not going to win continuing to get 12, 13 penalties and have all this problem with discipline when the game is going on. I mean, you see guys just making boneheaded moves on the field that cost them a lot of yardage.
Well, the only thing that helped them last week, and I was fortunate to be on the Detroit, and I thought I was lucky to win that ball game. Philadelphia self-imploded. I mean, once again, Michael Vick, he's just becoming a turnover machine. But getting to this game, and you alluded to it, yeah, one of the things that it's a big thing with me on the bye weeks, ever since they instituted the bye weeks, to me, you go into the bye week, if things aren't going good, I want that team coming out of the bye. And last week, there were 4 teams that were on a bye the week before come out. All 4 of those teams were coming off a loss. They all covered the spread last week. Now you got Chicago coming off the bye, but Chicago couldn't go into the bye any better than they did. They played on Monday Night Football 2 games before. Clubbed Dallas when Tony Romo, 5 inners, yeah. Then after that, they played Jacksonville. Now, granted, it was Jacksonville, but they were playing them on a short week, and then a lot of wise guys around town were on Jacksonville in that game as the home dog. Chicago rolled them. I mean, they put up over 500 yards of offense on them, so they go into the bye week off a 41-3 win. What do you fix during the bye week? You talk about vacation. Here's a team that had to go into the bye week feeling all fat and sassy. But do you really want to take the Lions? Can you trust them 2 weeks in a row on the road? That's my problem with the game. I mean, you talked about Stafford can implode at any moment.
Does it bother you at all, Brian, that for what it's worth, this line is 3 points higher than it was the last time these two teams met on this field? Does that bother you or come into your handicapping at all in this one?
Yeah, it does. I mean, the line's a little bit higher than what I would normally look to play. And this isn't my best bet or anything. It's probably not going to make the card for my clients. But Detroit going on the road, last 3 times they played in Chicago, they lose by 24-5 and 24 points. Mistake-prone quarterback off that big come-from-behind victory last week. Traveling on the road to play Chicago, or team off a rest. I do have concerns about, as he pointed out, Chicago went into that break pretty strongly. I do have concerns, and that tempers my enthusiasm a little bit. But I just think on a week-to-week basis at this point, Chicago's a better team. And if you take a look at Detroit, from the second half of last year on, they've posted a losing record. So it's not the same Detroit team that started last year on a fire.
Well, let's get to your free pick. I think we knocked this one around a little bit enough. Monday Night Football free pick from Brian Leonard.
Not enamored with this one, but if I got to take one side or the other, I want nothing to do with Detroit here. I'd rather have the Bears, like the Bears quarterback situation better, if he could just control himself about his other teammates, start owning up to some of his own mistakes. I think that'll help this team. And I'd much prefer the Chicago defense here. Detroit, as Scott pointed out, mistake-prone football. I guess they learned that from the Oakland Raiders for the last 20 years. Had so much success being the most penalized team in the NFL. I figured that's what we'll emulate right there. So I want nothing to do with Detroit here. We'll lay the points with Chicago. Chicago.
Brian Leonard's free pick is the Chicago Bears minus the points Monday Night Football. And that's going to do it for us at pregame.com for this week in college and pro football. Hey, don't forget, come back on Wednesday morning. You're going to see about 18 games between the two groups, including Chris Andrews' group and this group right here, headed by Marco D'Angelo. Anyway, we'll be back next Wednesday right through Monday night right here at pregame.tv.